Dear Ms. Chairperson, dear colleagues, after the fall of communism, Poland emerged with a strong democratic will. It quickly joined the Council of Europe in 1991 and became an EU member in 2004. Unfortunately, Poland was the first EU member for which the Assembly opened a monitoring procedure due to the concerns about the functioning of its democratic and rule of law institutions. And today, we have a current affairs debate on Poland, because we are deeply worried about recent developments that could affect the democratic nature of the elections. This debate is so urgent because Poland will hold elections this autumn, both for the Sejm, the lower house, and the Senate. In our recent information report on Poland, you find a lot of worrying developments. We fear that the situation has deteriorated since the country was placed under the monitoring procedure. It has not improved. Today, I would like to highlight two developments in particular. First, a possible court decision on the outcome of the Polish elections, and second, the new Polish law, which will set up a political committee deciding who was the Russian agent in Poland between 2007 and 2021. The political climate in Poland is tense, and the elections will be fiercely contested. Elections have been free in Poland, but there is now a hidden risk. As you know, the legitimacy of key courts in a country is widely questioned, domestically and internationally, including by both the European Court of Human Rights and the EU Court of Justice, and judicial efficiency is deteriorating. In particular, the chamber of the Polish Supreme Court, which adjudicates in election complaints, is no longer considered a tribunal established by law in the eyes of the European Court of Human Rights. That's Article 6 of the Convention. This could give rise to uncertainty if the final election results are challenged, because they're challenged in that court. It is crucial that after the election in a democratic country, the contestants and the public accept the process and thus the outcome of the election. If this court issue is not fixed, this crucial element in democracy at risk. So I repeat openly what I have already told the Polish delegation behind closed doors, both the coalition and the opposition. Please fix the court system by reforming KRS, and please fix it before the parliamentary elections. Because if you have uncertainty about who are your Sejm members, you will be in deep trouble. Instead of fixing it, matters got worse. The government proposed a law on Russian influence in Poland, and this law was adopted and is now formally law. The essence of the law is that a committee of 9 members, elected by the Sejm, where the government parties hold a majority, will investigate Russian influence, which, by the way, is not well defined in the law. The committee can investigate, use every document including state secrets, can summon people, and the committee can make decisions and sanction individuals. The committee is tasked to show the first results by September. That's just before the elections. This process goes against every principle of democracy and the rule of law. A political committee investigates, prosecutes, and judges on something which is not well defined in the law and was not illegal in the first place. It is clearly intended to influence elections. That is why I ask my Polish colleagues, and unfortunately there's only one of the ruling party taking part in this debate, who voted in favor of this law. Why did you think this law was in line with the Polish constitution and in line with the European Convention on Human Rights and equally important democratic norms and standards? The monitoring committee this morning agreed in asking an opinion from the Venice Commission on the law. I ask, and urge you not to use the law until you receive that opinion and repair the huge flaws in that legislation. It will be for the benefit of free and fair elections and ultimately of the trust of Poles in their own institutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Omtzigt. And I call next Ms. Rojhan. The floor is yours, please.
Madam President, dear colleagues, as rapporteurs, our opinion is clear. This law should not have been adopted at all from the beginning. Now we can only urge the Polish authorities to understand the far-reaching consequences of this law and its potential to undermine the democratic nature of elections in Poland. Therefore, our appeal to our Polish colleagues from the ruling party presented here today and to the Polish authorities back at home are clear. Do not implement this law until the Venice Commission has published its opinion and its recommendation have been fully addressed. Secondly, do not appoint anyone to the committee. And lastly, if the Polish authorities wish to reassure its citizens and the outside world about its commitment to democratic standards, then they must reassure that the Commission under no circumstances will publish a report or conclusions or make any statements before the election have taken place. Poland, as many other European countries, is rightfully concerned about the possibility of Russian influence in the democratic process in their country. But this does not justify establishment of an investigating commission at this point in time, especially as the law prescribes a deadline for the first report of the commission in September 2023, only a few weeks before the national elections in the country. Since the law was adopted by the Sejm, President Duda has proposed some amendments to address the most criticized parts. Unfortunately, the amendments proposed do not go far enough in addressing the concerns at hand. Let me elaborate on President Duda's amendments. The first one moves the appeals process from administrative to criminal courts, providing more safeguards for an effective appeal. However, it does not address the escalating concerns about the independence of the Polish justice system. The second amendment removes the Commission's punitive powers and reduces its role to merely naming and shaming. This change does not take away the risk for individuals to be falsely accused by a highly politicized and partisan committee weeks before the election. And it leaves also these individuals without the possibility to have an effective appeal. The final amendment, which prohibits active MPs and senators from serving on the committee, attempts to minimize its political nature. But the highly polarized society and the committee's appointment by a simple majority of the Sejm, without a clear membership criteria, continue to stoke concerns about politizations. In conclusion, this law, even with President Duda's amendments, remains troublingly very problematic, with the potential to undermine the democratic nature of elections in Poland. The timing of this law, coupled with establishment of the Commission, makes it difficult not to jump into conclusions about the possibility it brings for the authorities to influence the elections. This is unacceptable, and it undermines the legitimacy of elections in Poland, and it affects the public's trust. We, the rapporteurs, truly hope that the Polish authorities heed our appeal and our recommendations. Thank you.